So according to a major American publication, we figured out who killed Kennedy. We know who killed John F. Kennedy, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Who killed Kennedy in Dallas? Well, according to this major American publication right here, it says it was J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI director. The FBI director? So that would be like Kash Patel. Let me read to you what this says. Conspiracy bombshell. Kennedy murder solved. Hoover's revenge hit on JFK exposed in secret FBI files after 62 years. There's 2,400 long hidden documents on the killing of President John F. Kennedy are to be revealed. Now let's get to the actual article. Explosive newly released documents will finally blow the lid off what is arguably the greatest unsolved mystery in American history. Who really killed President John F. Kennedy? On the eve of the release of the 2,400 long-hidden JFK assassination records following an executive order from newly installed President Donald Trump, sources tell the National Enquirer the bombshell evidence will reveal the assassination was carried out in a deep state coup d'etat masterminded by ruthless FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. Insiders and experts say the cold-blooded FBI puppet master who reportedly kept extensive blackmail files on politicians and celebrities alike feared that JFK and his hard-charging brother, then U.S. Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy, were going to dump him following the 1964 election. Hoover was also reportedly nursing a bitter grudge over the Kennedy brothers, ordering him to trade his vendetta-like crusade against communists for a campaign to fight the American mafia, which purportedly possessed embarrassing photos of Hoover engaged in cross-dressing and homosexual acts. Investigators say proof of Hoover's involvement came in 2017 after the National Archives released a shocking cache of documents, including a cable the FBI boss sent to field offices warning that the president was in an assassin's crosshairs, 5 days before the November 22, 1963 tragedy. So he just sent a cable, he sent a memo to the field offices saying that an assassin was about to kill Kennedy. So he could have just been warning them. That doesn't sound like the smoking gun. The T-Lex was sent to cover himself after the fact, explains forensic analyst Stephen Jaffe, who worked on the investigative team assembled by New Orleans District Attorney Jim Garrison to prosecute CIA informant Clay Shaw in 1969 for JFK's murder, the only criminal action taken in the president's death. Wow, that's incredible. So this guy gets murdered, and the only damn charge that happens was against Clay Shaw, and then he was exonerated, right? He didn't have to. Sources also note that 2 days after Kennedy was slain in Dallas, sociopathic Hoover dictated a smoking gun memo in which he declared his intent to frame Patsy Lee Harvey Oswald before an investigation had even taken place. The thing I am concerned about is having something issued so we could convince the public that Oswald is the real assassin, Hoover wrote. Later, he told the Warren Commission, an investigative body formed to probe JFK's assassination, that he hadn't seen any scintilla of evidence suggesting a conspiracy to kill the president. Sources say to pull off his pernicious plot, Hoover recruited a cable of deep state insiders who shared one thing in common, an axe to grind with JFK. The conspirators included Vice President Lyndon Johnson, who had already been secretly informed that he would be dumped from the 1964 Democratic ticket. Only Johnson, say sources, had enough sway to convince JFK to visit his home state of Texas before the election. Former CIA Director Allen, there's some interesting pictures here. So here, let's just take a look at the pictures, huh? That was Clay Shaw. So that's good to know. We probably should just disband the FBI before they do some shit like that again. J. Edgar Hoover. Wow. Dulles, who had been ousted from his perch atop the nation's spy agency following the 1961 Bay of Pigs fiasco, in which American-trained Cuban rebels were slaughtered while storming the island nation's beaches. Investigators say a CIA kill squad dispatched by Dulles joined a team of Hoover hand-picked former FBI agents to pull off Kennedy's murder. They were said to be joined by Army General Lyman Lemnitzer, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who was furious over the president's intentions to withdraw from Vietnam and end the war against communist insurgents. Insiders say the mob was also involved as Hoover recruited Teamsters boss Jimmy Hoffa, who was being aggressively pursued by RFK's Justice Department, and he in turn lined up Tampa Mafia boss Santo Trafficante and New Orleans underworld kingpin Carlos Marcello. Both had a grudge with the Kennedys for refusing to do more to help the CIA topple Cuban strongman Fidel Castro. The mobsters felt double-crossed. Because they had helped Kennedy steal the 1960 presidential election from Republican nominee Richard Nixon after being promised the government would restore their Cuban gambling empire, which never happened. With all the pieces in place, Hoover apparently orchestrated the assassination. I personally believe J. Edgar Hoover not only was a part of the cabal to kill Kennedy, but led it. Forensic analyst Jaffe tells the Enquirer. J. Edgar Hoover led it. Well, there you go. I mean, why even release the files at this point since we got the National Enquirer? New deadly virus is spreading in America. Kanye's psycho ward meltdown. I mean, people don't talk about the National Enquirer enough. I mean, they got some hard-hitting journalism. I mean, media in America can't just flat out lie, can they? I mean, in their defamation, couldn't J. Edgar Hoover's estate sue this place? Sources say Hoover's guilt will finally be established by the never-before-seen trove of FBI documents released following Trump's January 23rd directive to turn over all remaining JFK assassination records. It's got an exclamation point there. This is huge, declares Jefferson Morley, an expert on the Kennedy murder. It shows the FBI is finally saying, let's respond to the president's order instead of keeping the secrecy going. So you want to look at some more pictures here? Look at that. Nixon. I heard that Nixon once said that both him and LBJ wanted the presidency, but only one of them were willing to kill for it.